Today on Living by Design.
Hi, I'm Kimberla Lawson Roby, New York Times bestselling author of the upcoming novel, The Prodigal Son, which will be released in May of this year, and I am living by design.
And of course, the beloved Reverend Curtis Black series with titles like Casting the First Stone, Too Much of a Good Thing, The Best Kept Secret, Love and Lies, Sin No More, The Best of Everything, Be Careful What You Pray For, Love, Honor, and Betray, The Reverend's Wife, and A House Divided. It's Kimberla Lawson Roby on Living by Design.
Hi, and welcome to Living by Design. I'm Kathy Holloway Hill, and do you like a good fiction story? If you don't know who the Reverend Curtis Black is, you will know before this interview is over, because I have the privilege of having Miss Kimberla Lawson Roby, New York Times bestselling author and the creator of Reverend Curtis Black. And she's going to be talking to us today about that and more. We are here today at the Royal Christian Bookstore at the Living Word Christian Center in the Chicagoland area, and it's the #1 resource for Christian books and all types of materials. So if you've never been here, I suggest that you pay them a visit. Miss Kimberla Lawson Roby, how are you doing today?
I am fine, Kathy. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us to talk to the viewers because they absolutely love you. I had an opportunity to interview you on my TV show as well as my radio show, so I'm very excited about that because they heard you and now they're having an opportunity to see you. So I'm so happy that you agreed to join us today.
Thank you again.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Kimberla, you have written so many books. How many do you actually have to your credit?
I actually have the 20th book coming out in May, so just a couple of months, and the 21st coming out November 4th.
Wow, that's a lot. That is absolutely a lot. You have done some amazing work, but I have to talk about Reverend Curtis Black. He is famous.
Yes, he is. I say to everyone, I'm maybe Kimberla Lawson Roby, the author, but he's much more famous, than I am. People know him even if they don't know who I am, and so that's just kind of interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's true. Now, Kimberla, I have to ask you because I know the viewers and your fans want to know, how did you come up with this character?
Well, after I had written the first and the second book, which were, just about real life social issues, that's sort of how I've geared my career since the very beginning. But when I was ready to submit a synopsis to my publisher for my third book, I said to my husband, I want to stick with real life issues, but I really want this next storyline to be something that everyone will know about, they can relate to. It won't matter what walk of life they come from, that they will know this character in this storyline. And so it was him who said, what about all of the issues going on in some of our churches? And so from that, I wasn't real sure how I would handle the story and what topic I would really write about. But as I thought more about it, the Reverend Curtis Black was born, and I built a storyline around him and, just kind of moved on from there.
Well, I love it. And the other thing I really, really like about all your stories is there's always a foundation of a Christian theme.
Yes.
There's always a moral. There's always a lesson to be learned.
Yes.
Why did you decide to create your stories?
Well, I think, when you're talking about consequences and you have characters who are making the wrong choices, they're committing sin after sin, there has to be consequences. We know, just from the Bible that, you reap what you sow.
Yes.
And so for my characters, they are not perfect. They are very flawed individuals. They make the mistakes. But at the same time, I want readers to understand that there can be redemption and that, there is forgiveness and that you can turn your life around and start doing the right thing.
Yes, yes. And I have to say, you already know this, but just so that my viewers will know, when someone gave me a copy of Casting the First Stone, that was the first book I read by you, and I instantly became a fan. So if there's anyone out there who has never read a Kimberla Lawson Roby book, you need to go get one. Because you will be hooked. I mean, that book just pulled me in, and I've actually read it several times. I've read a lot of your books several times. That book was so amazing, which is the first Curtis Black. Is that the first one where he was introduced? Okay, yeah.
It is, and I appreciate that. And when I wrote the book, I knew my husband had suggested the storyline, and I was happy with the book when I finished it. But when we started out on tour, traveling around to the different cities to promote it, I started hearing from readers in every single city, and it was just one after another, sharing the real names of their pastors who were just like the Reverend Curtis Black, and I think I was shocked about that more than anything else, but people just had stories to tell, and I had never planned on writing a series, and so I went on and wrote a 4th book and a 5th book that had absolutely nothing to do with the Reverend Curtis Black or any of his family members, but readers kept asking, what is he doing, what is he up to, when do you plan on writing about him again? And finally my agent came to me, and after the publisher received word from readers, and she said, you have this loyal audience who's very supportive of you, and so you have an obligation to give them what they're asking for. And so that of course inspired me to go on and write the 2nd and the 3rd, and now the 11th is actually coming out with The Prodigal Son.
Now you had 7 before The Prodigal Son. You had 7 in a row with Curtis Black? Or
I think it was, it's kind of been in a row, but what I started doing in 2008 was writing a novella, so a much shorter story.
Okay,
and so that was my 2nd book of the year. But I have done, yes, about 7 in a row, 7 or 8 in a row of Curtis Black straight every single year.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
And now it's almost like readers are expecting it, so much so that they used to come out every January, and then, with the way the weather has been the last few years on and off, we moved it to May because of all the travel that we have.
Right.
And so I started hearing from readers in January of the first year we made the change saying, where's the book? It's supposed to come out in January.
Wow.
That's when I realized people were really waiting for it. And so now people are on the new schedule for the month of May.
Amazing. Well, let's just go ahead and give your website so that readers that want to see the books and see you, give the website so that they can have somewhere to go and check you out.
It is www.kimroby.com, Kimroby. And so my tour schedule is there. Readers can read excerpts of all 20 of the books to get an idea. If you're in a book club, the discussion questions are out there for your book club meetings and all sorts of information.
Excellent. That's awesome, Kimberla. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back with more of Miss Kimberla Lawson Roby. Stay tuned.
So Tammy, I hear we're both longtime customers of Household Furniture.
Yes, I come in here every week. I like the quality of the furniture, and I also like that they allow me to make monthly payments that fits into my budget.
Every week?
Every week.
At Household Furniture, get comfort, quality, and style at monthly payments you can afford, with layaway, discounts for cash, and our in-store financing.
Don't make the rental mistake. Come on to Household Furniture.
I believe I can achieve greater things.
I believe I can balance both work and school.
Work in a field I enjoy.
Provide more for my family.
I believe I can push aside the excuses and start on the career path that I deserve.
Believe in yourself. We certainly do. Since we opened our doors in 1902, Harrison College has over 75,000 graduates, offering over 30 programs in a wide variety of fields, including culinary arts, healthcare, IT, veterinary, criminal justice, and business. Career-focused, quality education with a student-centered atmosphere. Enjoy the flexibility of day and evening classes available online or at one of our 12 campuses. Plus, you may be able to receive some form of financial aid. And we have a tuition freeze program, so you have peace of mind when budgeting for your education. We work to connect graduates with potential employers.
I called.
I made the call.
Now it's your turn.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
Start your enrollment today. Classes are forming now. Harrison College, career-focused, success-driven.
Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? Do you feel that life is passing you by, yet you have nothing to show for your efforts? Are your employees miserable with low morale and high stress? Hello, I'm Kathy Holloway Hill, founder and CEO of C. Holloway Hill Enterprises. And if you answered yes to those questions, then our quality workshops, seminars, keynote presentations, and one-on-one life coaching will provide you the tools and methods you need to elevate to a higher level of awareness. Life is not a destination, it's a journey, and you keep going and growing. So if you're ready to grow with us and experience results-oriented services, then contact C. Holloway Hill Enterprises today at 812-418-3391. Hi, we're back with Miss Kimberla Lawson Roby, New York Times bestselling author and award-winning author. And now we're going to talk about her current books, and I actually have two here with me. Now, I want to let you know that The Prodigal Son is going to be coming out this May, so get ready for that. You don't want to miss it. Kimberla's last book that is on the shelves today is A House Divided, so you want to make sure you check that one out as well. Now, Kimberla, let's just talk about your latest book that's coming up, actually, The Prodigal Son.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, Curtis Black is back.
Yes, he is.
And he's up to some things, right?
And he is, but actually it takes place through his sons. And so as the story starts out, his youngest son, Matthew, has left Harvard University, had a full 4-year academic scholarship, made the mistake, in his life of getting his girlfriend pregnant in their senior year in high school. But Curtis, of course, and Charlotte still want their son to go on and take the scholarship, and he does. His girlfriend's parents even want him to go on and get his education. They're all going to help out with the child. But Matthew is just, don't just say that, but in the beginning. So Matthew is a great kid, though. And so in his heart, he still feels like, I need to marry her and be a husband and be a father. But as the story opens, he's done exactly that, but he's never been more miserable in his life.
Wow.
And so then the second chapter begins with the other son, Dylan, that Curtis has just met for the first time, and he's 29 years old. And so now this is the true firstborn child of the Reverend Curtis Black. And so he's fighting for attention, wants to be a part of the Black family, wants his father to love him, doesn't feel like he's getting the attention because of the other children, and he's willing to get his father's attention, even if it means playing dirty. And so that's a whole other story.
It sounds just as yummy as all the others. I know I can't wait for it, so I know there's a lot of people who can't wait for it. Now, Kimberla, let's rewind all the way back to your early days. Let's talk about your beginning, your humble beginnings.
Yes.
Because I know you haven't always been the Kimberla Lawson Roby. I know there were some struggles and challenges, and I really want you to talk a little bit about that, because sometimes when our viewers are people, individual, just anyone, they see someone who is successful and you've made it, that it was just so easy and it just happened overnight. So talk a little bit about how you began, how you got started, and how you actually had to sell books out of the trunk of your car.
Yes,
talk about some of that.
I did. Well, I did not start out with writing as a lifelong dream, so that had not been the case for me. And so it was not until I was 30 years old that, I worked in corporate America at a number of different companies. I'd worked for the state of Illinois, and I actually was working for the city of Rockford as a financial analyst when I still felt like there was this void, and I actually loved my job at that point. It was finally the position, that worked for me. I loved going to work every day, but I still felt like something was missing. And I had been told from the time I was in elementary school from teachers that I should be a writer, that I had a gift for storytelling. And junior high school, never paid a lot of attention to it, and ended up majoring in business. And so it's now, of course, when I go into high schools and colleges and universities, I tell students, don't make the mistake I made. Listen to your teachers, listen to adults, figure out what your passion is, because if you can figure that out, then you'll know what your purpose is, and you'll learn and realize why God placed you on this earth in the first place. And so I sat down and just started writing my book. I would come home every evening, working full time, so I would write from 6 to 10 o'clock every night, every evening, and every weekend, every holiday, and I did that for 7 months. Kind of fast forwarding to when the manuscript was finished and edited, and I started sending it out to literary agents, trying to find someone to represent me, hoping they'd be able to sell it to the New York publishing industry.
So not a publishing house,
not
an
a publishing
agent.
house, an agent.
Okay,
because
I want to make sure we got that
yes,
clear.
after doing my research and reading all the books that I could find on how to get published, I had learned that the publishing houses sometimes, at that time anyway, were receiving anywhere from 200 to 300 unsolicited manuscripts a week, and so they really preferred that you had a representative to kind of bring your work to them.
Because they were kind of a screen.
Yes,
yeah.
And that's what they are, that they kind of are weeding out.
Right,
and I think
right.
editors at publishing houses feel like if an agent has signed someone on, they really believe they have something in this author. And so I set out on my mission and, just sent out lots of letters. And in all honesty, at that age, I was younger and, of course, a little naive. And I thought, well, I'll be able to just choose which agent to go with. But lo and behold, that wasn't the case at all. And I just received one rejection letter after another, after another, after another. And it was disappointing. And I thought, gosh, this wasn't as easy as I thought. And so then I thought, well, I won't give up just yet, even though I was discouraged. And so I thought, I'm going to send it to some of these editors at the publishing houses. I know they want me to have a representative, but I can't find one. So I decided to send letters directly. And in some cases, I sent the actual manuscript, sat back and waited, and rejection letter after rejection letter again. So at that point, I was ready to give up. I thought, I loved writing the story and I enjoyed the process, wanted to move forward, but it's not working. And I just felt like it was time for me to move on. And my mom was hearing that, and she said, I understand how you feel. I know that you're disappointed, but we've passed around so many copies of the manuscript here locally, and readers are saying they can't put it down until they finish it, and I just believe that means something, and you shouldn't give up, But that's the same mom who told me I could do anything from the time I was a toddler, so, you don't know how to really take that. But then it was my husband who said, you have this background in business. Why can't you start your own company and publish the book yourself? And so that's how the whole idea of self-publishing came about. I read every book on the subject, and he borrowed money from his 401k account. We took out a small personal loan. So we really took a risk because it was quite expensive to do that back then if you were going to do it the right way. And I just remember saying to him, and I share this with people everywhere, whether you're 18 or 80, it's never too late to live out your dreams and, figure out your passions and follow your purpose. Because I said to him, what if this doesn't work? We're taking money, we're going to spend. And he said, well, if it doesn't work, then you just move on to something else. But do you really want to go, say, 10 years down the road wondering if you could have had some success with it? And then he took it a step further. Once the books were back and we had an opening reception at home, he said, you need to go to work on Tuesday and you need to give your 2-week notice. And, I think if you're going to have success, you're going to have to give it 100% of your time. And so I did that in November 1996, and I've been writing full time ever since then.
Now that is living by design.
Yes.
That is the epitome of taking control of your life. That's an amazing story, and we want to hear a lot more about that. So just hold those thoughts. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dig a little bit more into that story. Stay tuned. More coming up on Living by Design.
Stephanie, you look like $1 million.
Thank you. I won the lottery.
So you can shop anywhere. Why household furniture?
Before I won the lottery, I was working 2 jobs, and they financed me, and they really understood my situation. So why would I go anywhere else?
So here at Household Furniture, everybody's a winner.
Yeah.
At Household Furniture, get comfort, quality, and style at monthly payments you can afford. Ask about our in-store financing and cash discounts.
Don't make the rental mistake. Come on to Household Furniture.
I believe I can achieve greater things.
I believe I can balance both work and school.
Work in a field I enjoy.
Provide more for my family.
I believe I can push aside the excuses and start on the career path that I deserve.
Believe in yourself. We certainly do. Since we opened our doors in 1902, Harrison College has over 75,000 graduates, offering over 30 programs in a wide variety of fields, including culinary arts, healthcare, IT, veterinary, criminal justice, and business. Career-focused, quality education with a student-centered atmosphere. Enjoy the flexibility of day and evening classes available online or at one of our 12 campuses. Plus, you may be able to receive some form of financial aid. And we have a tuition freeze program, so you have peace of mind when budgeting for your education. We work to connect graduates with potential employers.
I called.
I made the call.
Now it's your turn.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
Start your enrollment today. Classes are forming now. Harrison College, career-focused, success-driven.
Are you sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? Do you feel that life is passing you by, yet you have nothing to show for your efforts? Are your employees miserable with low morale and high stress? Hello, I'm Kathy Holloway Hill, founder and CEO of C. Holloway Hill Enterprises. And if you answered yes to those questions, then our quality workshops, seminars, keynote presentations, and one-on-one life coaching will provide you the tools and methods you need to elevate to a higher level of awareness. Life is not a destination, it's a journey, and you keep going and growing. So if you're ready to grow with us and experience results-oriented services, then contact C. Holloway Hill Enterprises today at 812-418-3391. Welcome back. I am here with Miss Kimberla Lawson Roby, and we are having an amazing time.
Yes.
So, Kimberla, let's continue our conversation about how you got started. And I want to make sure that all of our viewers hear us when we say that you can't just write a book and jump straight to the publishing houses. It's very, very, very important to find an agent.
Yes.
And I know you had a lot of trouble with that. So what do agents look for typically when they accept you? What is it that they want to see?
Well, you know, they're definitely looking for a well-written book. You know, so I think a lot of times people can fall short. They can have a great story, they can be great writers, but maybe they've not hired a professional editor. So even as much as punctuation errors and, you know, grammatical errors, we, you know, have to be very, very careful of that. So that's important. They're looking for a story that they consider to be fresh, something that will stand out in the crowd. Even if it's on a topic that's been done 1,000 times, they want to know what your different take on it is, you know. And even with agents, as well as when you move on, and if you find a publishing house, the publishing house will want to know, you know, what will you do to help us promote this? You know, the publishing house has their job of advertising and marketing and publicizing, but as an author, they want to know, what are you going to do to reach out to readers and, you know, gain more exposure, and, you know, what can you do and become more of a team player with your publishing house to do that. So there's so much more involved. Writing the book is one thing, but getting it sold to a publisher, getting it out to readers, and getting the marketing taken care of is a whole different story.
Yes, yes, that's good advice. Thank you for that. And Kimberla, you are a role model, not just in the literary world, but you're a role model just overall because of your success and your kind spirit. And I know you get a lot of emails from people asking for advice about life. And what would you say to someone who really, really wants to live their passion and go down the path that God has orchestrated for their lives, but they are just filled with fear? What can you say to them to get away from that fearful place?
I think you really have to pray for the spirit of fear to be removed from you completely, you know, so that you can step out on faith and, you know, do what God has for you to do. And I am just a strong believer that when God has given you certain gifts and abilities and He has a purpose in life for you, He will do everything to make that happen for you, you know. But it's the same thing with anything when they say, you know, what is it? Faith without works is dead, you know. So you have to put forth that effort. You have to believe. And so what I say is this, and I believe in this order every single day of my life. I believe in God, I believe in myself, and then I believe in whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. And I think you'll be fine if you do that.
That is great advice, because we all get caught up in looking at someone else.
Yes.
And we see their success, and if they're doing something similar to what we're doing, all of a sudden we just get so caught up in, well, who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? Instead of focusing on your gifts, because we all have unique gifts and talents.
And you do.
Yeah.
And you do. Everybody across the world. You know, I kind of will give the example, you know, some people love to cook and they're great at it, you know. Well, you can still start a business. It just means you should start a catering business. You know, if you love to sew, you could be one of the best designers that we've ever heard of. You know, if you just love cleaning houses, you should start your own cleaning business, and you can have a chain of cleaning services. So.
Now, I have to ask, because you give the world so much with your gifts and your stories and your writing, and because reading for me is so relaxing and calming for a lot of people. What does Kimberla Lawson Roby do to relax?
Wow. Well, you know, this is what's interesting, and I, you know, kind of, you know, tease my readers a lot of times when I'm on the road at events, and they'll say, you know, what do you love to do? And I know you just love to travel, and, you know, what exotic place do you want to go? And I say, my favorite place to be is at home, you know, and most people, you know, are shocked to hear that. I love to be at home. I love to spend my time with my husband and sometimes doing absolutely nothing. On a great day, I'm watching a full marathon day of Law & Order SVU reruns, you know.
So, girl,
you
good
know,
for
I
you.
just absolutely love that. And, you know, ordering food, you know, that's fattening and that just feels good that I wouldn't ordinarily have, you know, on a regular day. But I am a homebody by nature. I've kind of always been that way. But it seems that I've gotten older, I even appreciate the idea of being at home and just being at peace and, you know, just enjoying my husband and my other family members and friends. And, you know, that's just what I love to do. So I don't even really have a hobby. I think that is my hobby.
Yes, absolutely.
Is just to enjoy.
Well, when you live your passion, that's the best life you could possibly ask for, because it doesn't feel like work.
No, it does not.
It's fun. It's fun. I love what I do, so it doesn't feel like work, even though it really kind of can get stressful. But that in itself can relieve the stress.
And it can. It really does. You know. So those are my ways to wind down and just be happy.
Now I have to ask you a tough question. What's your one biggest regret?
Wow. In life, in publishing?
Yeah, just period.
I think, you know, this is kind of a catch-22. I kind of think my biggest regret is that I didn't maybe start earlier with writing. You know, I didn't listen to the advice of elementary school teachers all the way through professors in college who were saying you should be a writer. And the reason I say it's a catch-22 is that given the fact that I had to start my own business, I'm not really sorry that I followed a career in business and that I majored in business, because I think that helped me a lot. But I do think if I had it to do over again, I would have taken more English classes, more creative writing classes. I've had a lot to learn over the years. I think God gave me stories, you know, so that I could tell stories, and so I've not had a lot of problem with that. But with the craft of writing, you know, I think that I had a lot more to learn, and thank God I've had great editors who have taught me along the way.
Now here's an easy one for you. What are you most proud of?
Wow, I think I am most proud of, you know, the way that I was raised. You know, that I was born, you know, to a mother, you know, and to grandparents who taught me at a very young age to love God, you know, to honor Him, to believe in Him, to keep my trust in Him, and most of all, to always treat people the way I want to be treated, you know, and that has remained with me. And so when I'm asked, you know, who are my role models, whether you're talking professional or personal, I will say my mother and my grandmother, because I have strong Christian values and moral values, and it is because of them. You know, they're gone, but their words and everything they taught me, they remain with me today.
Live on forever.
Yes, they will.
Kimberla, I thank you so much for joining us today. You have blessed so many people, and I just love you dearly. You're a dear, dear friend, and I'm just so filled up right now that you agreed to talk to the viewers, because they really needed to hear your nuggets and your words of encouragement.
Well, thank you, and for everything that you do, you know, for reaching out and all the help that you're giving your viewers and people everywhere. Just appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Holloway Hill, and I just want to say in closing that we want you to go to Facebook, and we want you to like Reverend Curtis Black's page, and please like Kathy Holloway Hill, author and talk show host, because I have a special surprise for you. If you like the page, we're going to be doing a giveaway, and I think you're going to want to receive one of these books. So in ending, I just want to say, if you believe in yourself, and if you're not afraid of obstacles and challenges, because that's what life is all about, because it makes you better, not bitter, then you're going to discover that you can live by design. Thank you.
Living by Design is sponsored in part by Household Furniture.
Don't make the rental mistake. Come on to Household Furniture.